Okay, so today we're just going to do a quick review of discriminant and quadratic formula, and then you're going to get a quiz on Monday. So let's just review these points here. So first of all, does the discriminant give the exact roots of a quadratic equation? The points where the parabola crosses the x-axis. So we know that a discriminant, which is just b squared minus 4ac, tells how many solutions there are. But it doesn't tell you what the solutions are, it just tells you how many solutions there are. To find the actual solutions, then you would have to complete the quadratic formula. So how is the discriminant related to the quadratic formula? Well, the quadratic formula contains the discriminant. So the discriminant is this portion in here. Let's see if I can. Is this b squared minus 4ac. That is your discriminant. Okay, so explain why does b squared minus 4ac is greater than 0? Why are there two roots? Because this means it's positive, right? And positive numbers always have two square roots. So that would mean there's always two roots or two answers, positive and a negative. If you have a 0, the square root of 0 just equals 0. So there's only one answer, or one root. If you have a negative number inside there, then there's no roots because you can't take the square root of a negative number. So if you're finding the discriminant, determine how many solutions there will be, then you're going to use the quadratic formula to find the actual answers. So for number 4, A is 1, B is 3, and C is negative 4. So the discriminant, the b squared minus 4ac portion, is 3 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 4. So that's going to be 9 plus 16, which is 25. Since 25 is a positive number, there would be two square roots when you square root it. So there are two solutions, or two roots. Now, if we go to finish that problem, to actually solve them, we have negative b plus minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, which we already figured out was 25. And then we do 2 times a. So negative 3 plus or minus 5 over 2. Now we have to solve this both ways with the plus and the minus. So negative 3 plus 5 is 2. 2 over 2 is 1. Negative 3 minus 5 is negative 8. Negative 8 over 2 is negative 4. And those were our two solutions. All right, so let's take a look at number 5. So number 5, the A is 2, the B is 4, and the C is 1. So first we're going to find the discriminant, so the b squared minus 4ac. So we're going to do 4 squared minus 4 times 2 times 1. So 16 minus 8, which is 8. Now again, this is a positive answer, so there are going to be two roots or two solutions. So to find them, we're going to finish using the quadratic formula. So the negative b plus or minus the square root of the discriminant, which we figured out was 8, over 2 times a. So negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 8 over 4. Now in this case, I'm going to have to use my calculator to figure them out, or you'd have to simplify the radical, but we haven't really gone over that. So negative 4 plus the square root of, negative 4 plus the square root of 8, and then I'm going to divide that by 4, and I got negative 0.29, and then negative 4 minus. Then I have negative 4 minus the square root of 8 divided by 4, negative 1.7. All right. Okay, so a couple more. We're going to do the same thing, but these are going to look a little bit different. They're missing something, just a little bit trickier. So we're just going to play around with them. Okay, so let's look at number 6. So this time A is 5, B is not there, so it's 0. And then C would be the -3. So remember, the B, when you're doing standard form, the B would always be the number in front of the X, and there isn't one here, so that's why that's 0. The C is the constant, and A is the number in front of the X squared. So now when we go to find the discriminant, we have 0 squared, which of course is 0, minus 4 times 5 times -3. So that is going to be 4 times 5 is 20, 20 times 3 is 60, and the negative times the negative is positive. So it's positive 60, which means there will be 2 roots or solutions. So now when we use that quadratic formula to go ahead and solve negative b plus or minus the discriminant, which is 60, over 2 times a. So this is the square root of 60 plus or minus, don't forget that, over 10. Now, even though the 0 obviously canceled out, the 60 still has a positive and a negative. So we have to do positive square root of 60 over 10 and then negative square root of 60 over 10. So square root of 60 divided by 10 is 0.77. So that's one answer. And then we're going to do negative square root of 60 divided by 10. And that's negative 0.77. All right, so let's try number 7. Now, I think number 7, we just forgot our equal sign here. So A would be the 3 because that's the coefficient for the x squared. B is negative 10 because that's the coefficient on the x. And C in this case is just 0. There is no constant. So doing our discriminant, b squared minus 4ac, we have negative 10 squared minus 4 times 3 times 0. So this is going to become 100 minus 0 because all those get multiplied to 0, so they cancel out. So we just have 100, which means it's positive, so there would be 2 solutions or 2 roots. So finishing it up with the quadratic formula, I would have negative 10 plus or minus the square root of 100, since that's my discriminant, over 2 times 3. So that becomes positive 10 plus or minus 10 over 6. So now we have to solve for both answers. 10 plus 10 is 20, and 20 over 6 is 10 over 3. And if you write it as a decimal, it's 3.3 repeating. And then 10 minus 10 would be 0, and 0 divided by anything is 0. So that would be our other answer. Okay, we're going to do about 2 more. Okay, so number 8, we have 2 for A, 7 for B, and 50 for C. So when I do my discriminant, I'm going to do 7 squared minus 4 times 2 times 50. So that's 49, and then let's say 2 times 50 is 100, 100 times 4 is 400. Now in this case, I end up with negative 351, which means I have no roots or no real solutions. So there's no solving that needs to be done there. And then finally, number 9, first thing we have to do here is move that 11 over to the other side because we need it to equal 0. So we subtract the 11 over to the other side. So now A is 4, B is negative 5, C is negative 11. The discriminant is negative 5 squared minus 4 times negative 11. So we have 25. And then let's say 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 11 is 176, and we have minus and negative, so it's going to be plus 176. And we add that to our 25, and we get 201, which means we would have 2 solutions, because when you have a square root of a positive, you get 2 roots. So to solve, negative 5 plus minus the square root of 201, over 2 times the a, which is 4. So this gives us positive 5 plus minus square root of 201 over 8, and then I'd have to do it the 2 ways on my calculator. So 5 plus the square root of 201, and I'm dividing that by 8. So that gives me 2.397, which rounds to 2.4. And then I'm going to do 5 minus equals, and divide that by 8. Negative 1.147, or negative 1.15. And that's it. So basically, we spent the last couple days just going over discriminant and the quadratic formula, how we use the discriminant to determine the number of solutions, and then how we actually use the quadratic formula to find those solutions or x-intercepts. And that's pretty much it. So enjoy the rest of your day. The quiz is Monday, but I will post it tomorrow, which will be flex day if you want to get it over with Friday and kind of take Monday as your flex day. It makes no difference to me. And make sure on Friday at 10:30 a.m. there is a meetup. So if you have any questions on quadratic formula or discriminant or anything else that you want to take a retake quiz on, please come on to the meetup at 10:30, ask your questions and everything, and then you can take the quiz after. All right, enjoy the rest of your day.